lights of my hometown. This place is all so different now, and they've torn the red light down. That old wooden bridge I fished from is replaced with man-made stone. The swimming pool and our old school, like you, they both are gone. I've been thinking about the summer of 1969. Long ago and far away, when I thought you were mine. For better or worse, thick or thin, so much has changed since then. My crazy heart spins round and round when I dream of way back when. When the rock and roll would play in that old silver Chevrolet, and AM rock was all we knew back then. Big green eyes and short Levi's, I remember you. But it's all over now, baby blue. To the sea, the track that took my dad to war in 1943 still stretches by the depot like so many years before. But like you, the train's on a different track. It don't come here no more. And the rock and roll would play in that old silver Chevrolet, and AM rock was all we knew back then. Big green eyes and short Levi's, I remember you. But it's all over now, baby blue. Red wall tires, western flyers, and 8-track Suzy Q. It's all over now, baby blue.
We opened with that lake shot for a reason. Whew, calm my fears, make me feel good, put me out on that boat. I could go boating every day if I had planned my life better and I had called Paul Kiker before I blew any money I had up a hog's rear end. I could have called Paul Kiker and I could have been sitting on the lake on a paid-for pontoon and I could have had a really good time. Why didn't I call you? Why didn't I make the right decision?
Hindsight's always perfectly clear.
I know.
Hindsight's always perfectly clear.
I know. Well, we want to talk today about a lot of different things. I haven't even seen you since Charlie was killed.
Yes.
How did that affect you in your life?
Oh, I was shocked. I was heartbroken. I had listened to a few things that Charlie, some of his debates, but I really didn't follow him deeply. But Will, my youngest, texted me as soon as it happened, and I happened to walk out of a meeting.
We have a picture of Will we're going to show today.
Oh, cool.
We're using your children as an example.
Oh, okay. But he had texted me. He's like, Dad, Charlie Kirk's been shot. And I knew Will had been listening to him.
See, I saw that on my phone, but I didn't think it was real. I was in a meeting and I glanced down and saw it. I thought it was a hoax.
Yeah. Well, I immediately went to X and found the video, and I messaged Will, and I said, Will, there's no way he survived that.
Yeah.
And I hope that he does. Yeah. But, it was sad. It's sad to the point because I was really curious about why. One of the things that I've noticed, especially when it comes to markets, it comes to politics, it comes to anything, is the media lies.
Oh.
Okay? And you can,
yes, yeah, they do.
You can lie by omission without giving all the facts. You can twist the truth. You can twist statistics. And, the opposite of my faith is the father of lies, the generator of those, and that's who they serve. And their purpose is to divide the people. So I was like, you know what? It's going to take some time, but I'm going to go back and find everything that I can that Charlie Kirk put out to find out exactly why it is they hated him so much. And I've probably at this point listened to 30, maybe 40 hours worth of talks that he had. He was stern, he was honest, but he loved people. He tried to reach out and say, look, I hope that you have a family. I hope that you pursue these dreams. I hope, and he debated very, very well. Now, one thing that broke my heart was the fact that there was actual celebration.
Oh, my God.
That there was actually celebration over his death.
But thank goodness, many people who celebrated and made comments lost their jobs, as they should have. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just, especially if you're in healthcare, you're in education. If you think it, keep your mouth shut. That's wisdom. But to openly celebrate, and I thought about that. I'm like, why does that make me so angry? What makes me so angry is anytime that you're in a debate and you're having a conversation with somebody and you're engaged, okay, there is the opportunity for them to change their mind and for you to change your mind. If you love the truth and you're pursuing the truth and have the courage to take it wherever it leads you, then you have that opportunity to debate, and there's an opportunity for repentance. Okay? So let's say I disagree with somebody. Even if they're horrible, justice should be served if they've killed people, if they've trafficked people, if they've, raped, whatever. Justice should be served. But as long as they're alive, they have a chance to repent from their ways, to turn and choose a better path. I don't understand in America where people that can claim to be accepting and loving, and that's their false presentation, to celebrate the death of their enemy. I mean, death is always, life is good, life is great. As long as we have an opportunity here, we can make different decisions, turn from our ways. So even if you disagree with somebody, after listening to Charlie Kirk, I didn't disagree with anything that he put out.
Right. Right.
But I mean, there's a lot of people that I've
I
talked
watched
to.
him religiously.
Okay.
And I admired him so much. And I didn't want to believe that this had happened in America. I absolutely did not want to believe. And then when you see that this young man is from a conservative family, but something on the dark web, something led him astray. And I was reading something this morning, and I didn't have the guys put it up, but it, how you're influenced by a lot of people, and a lot of, you're influenced by, when I was a teenager, I loved the music of Sonny and Cher, and I looked like Cher. I wore big long eyelashes. I, had long black hair. I was influenced by that, but that didn't last long, and I, grew up quickly. And then I was influenced by people who dress well, prepare well, show up for job interviews looking the part. I've always been influenced by somebody, but thank God I chose good people to be influenced by.
Yeah.
Today, these kids are being influenced by Satan.
Oh, absolutely.
And it is through the internet. It is through, and as much as I depend on this, and I want to read this, and it's got a bad word in it. Well, it isn't a bad word. We all know that you have two choices in life. You go to heaven or you go to the other place. Nobody's life was ever changed from positive vibes or thoughts sent your way, but prayer shakes the gates of hell. I am not sending you vibes. I'm going to pray. And that's what prayer in the nation the day that Charlie Kirk died, I would say there was more prayer, more international prayer, more prayer from people who weren't even sure who he was, but they, like you, researched a little bit.
Yeah.
And they prayed for our nation.
Right.
Because it wasn't just for Charlie Kirk's family, our nation.
Right.
And that same week we had a school shooting. We had the young woman on the train up in, where was she at, North Carolina?
She was in North Carolina.
That was killed.
A heinous act. A heinous act.
Heinous. And Paul, had you been there and saw that man start stabbing her in the back of the neck, how would you have reacted?
Well, I mean, I've thought about that several times. Did the people really understand what happened?
I don't think they could have. I
quickly?
think they were scared. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I'm not so sure in looking at the video that they actually understood what occurred. Because I've watched that several times over, and I thought, what if that was my daughter? What if,
oh my gosh.
What if I was standing there?
Oh my gosh.
Now, I would hope that I would see it, and if I saw it, I have no doubt that I would have attacked that man. The question is whether I could have restrained myself. Now, on the immediate onset, I would have attacked that man and done my best to subdue him, even if it meant that
And try to take his weapon.
that I got hurt.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have known immediately that she passed away from that. But the problem in today's society is, I think one of the great deceptions that have occurred, and there's people out there that are going to disagree with this, and this is fine. One of the great deceptions that has occurred, especially in the baby boomer generation, is let's not talk politics and let's not talk religion. And what that has done...
And then our country shall fail.
And what that has done has allowed the propagandists, Obama removed the law that limited the government's ability to use propaganda on the people. And all that you have to have evil reign is for good men to stand by and do nothing. So there are good people who have received bad advice that I don't need to talk religion or politics, which means that those that are going down the bad path have control of the narrative. And it also means that at the base of that you're more concerned about being liked than you are the fear of God and speaking the truth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus went into the temple and he overturned the tables and ran people out of the temple. I mean, that's not a passive individual. We've also been taught that meekness is when you think of somebody who's meek, what do you think?
Quiet and subdued and
a pushover.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Chuck Missler and several others, Chuck Missler from the Koinonia Institute is just amazing in his studies. He's passed away now, but his lessons are still relevant. Him and Jordan Peterson talked about the original definition of meekness is to have the weapons of war but choose not to use them. Okay, so a meek individual has been distorted in our society. So a meek individual has the capacity to do dramatic amounts of damage to the individuals around them, but chooses not to because of their moral obligation to not do so. Now, a meek individual is somebody that can stand up and attack an individual. And I mean, I'm just happen to be one of those people. I'll give you an example. Holly and I were at the beach one year, and I seem to find these situations. It's just...
They find you.
Or they find me, and I don't like them at all.
Yeah.
But Holly and I are sitting there, and it was interesting. Right before that was kind of the sweetest thing, because we had just gotten to the beach, and Holly and I had gotten there. The kids were old enough, they were walking down, and we had carried chairs down. And I watched this lady walk out. She's like 85 years old. Everything she can do to balance, get across the sand, and she gets there, and I'm like, hey, how are you today? Because I talk to everybody, mostly. When I get on a plane, don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you on a plane.
Yeah.
But when I'm out, got to talking to her, and it was the first time she'd been to the beach in 60 years.
Wow.
And
wow.
I'm like, hey. And she's like, I just want to watch the sunset. So I give her my chair, and Holly's sitting up here, and I'm sitting down there. And there's two moms and 4 young girls, probably 12 to 14. And this guy walks up, And he sits down with them, acts like he knows them. You can tell he'd been drinking a little bit. He's probably mid-40s, good shape, actually. And I'm sitting here, Holly and I are kind of talking, and I overhear the conversation, and he starts making these really inappropriate comments. And then he starts talking about sex graphically in front of these younger ladies.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to look and read the situation. Holly reaches over and she says, don't
do it.
Leave it alone.
Holly knows her husband.
And I threw my elbow off. I was like, at this point, don't touch me. I'm getting angry.
Yeah.
And that sounds worse than it was. I just kind of nudged like that. That's her hint of, look, I can't stand by and let this happen.
Yeah.
So finally I asked one of the ladies, I said, y'all know this guy? And the lady looked at me and she said, no. Another one was texting on her phone. So I got up and I said, sir, it's time for you to leave. And he's like, who are you to whatever? Well, I lost my temper and I was willing to fight him.
Yeah.
I said, you're leaving. I wouldn't want my daughters around this. So he gets up and leaves. Well, in the interim period, the lady that had texted her husband that was up in the condo comes running down.
Yeah.
He comes running up thinking I'm the one that's causing the
no,
problem.
how funny.
And he just about hits me before, because he's coming up behind, about tackled me actually, and the wife's like, no, it's not him. He helped. But, the thing is, and that's the difference between men and women. Holly wants to stand up for what's right, okay? But God's given women a natural tendency to heal, to be merciful, to bring over. But I had a choice. I could sit there and do nothing, or I could stand up and make this guy pay the consequences for saying completely inappropriate things to younger girls.
Right. Right.
And let's just take it. Where does that stop, right?
Yeah.
So let's say he attacks and tries to rape one of these girls right there on the beach. At what point are we willing to stand up? And we should be standing up and doing it in love. I didn't have to strike him, but I was willing to. Now I've had, gosh almighty, it's ridiculous, probably 7, 8 circumstances like that, to the point I don't even like to go to concerts anymore because I don't want to be around something that would cause me to be in it.
Okay,
but
speaking of
you
concerts,
have to do that.
What's the last concert you went to?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Would you panic if your girls, if your precious daughter said, Dad, I've got tickets, and me and one of my female friends are going to a rap concert in Atlanta alone, the two of them? Would you panic over that?
I would be extremely concerned if they were going by
I would be
themselves.
scared to death. I would look at my daughter and say, you've lost your mind and no, you're not going.
Right.
And then she would come back with, I'm 21 years old, I can do what I want to. And I'd say, I brought you into this world and I can take you out.
Right.
So, I would not allow that. Even if my kids were 21, I would pitch a hissy fit.
Yeah.
I would pitch a hissy fit. They don't understand the danger.
No.
And the danger could happen on the beach. It could happen at a concert. It could happen. But you have to learn to protect yourself. Does your daughter carry a gun?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
We're in a time, what you think about, but you can't take a gun to a concert.
No, you can't.
So if you're in Atlanta around 30,000 attend concerts, if you're around 30,000 drinking, crazy, many of them doing drugs, concerts, and you got 2 girls at a rap concert in Atlanta,
yeah.
how would you sleep that night till they got home?
I wouldn't. I'd be sitting in the parking lot waiting.
To me, it is like danger. Who would do that? And
well, let me give you an example of what can happen. So one of the things that I've always told the kids is, especially when you read the Bible, there is evil. Okay, and if you do not teach,
and it strikes its weakest point.
Yeah, if you do not, and it seeks to kill, steal, and destroy. Okay, so one of the things I was telling,
and does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, one of the things I was telling Katie and others is I said, look, there's these things called date rape drugs, and I have been through some counseling, or a counseling program and a ministry that it's called the Ultimate Journey. It's absolutely incredible. Everybody should go through it. But anyway, so one of the things I'd explained to Katie is I said, look, if you're going out somewhere, if you're going to drink, one, don't let anybody give you a drink, okay? You keep it yourself. Don't accept one from somebody else because they can drop the date rape drug in it, things like that. That's what happens. So one of my team, and I won't mention her name because I haven't gotten permission, she shares the story, but she went to a concert with some of her friends, and I kind of scared her to death about, the situations before, but really didn't step in there. And she had some weird individuals come up, older guys that were like, hey, talking to them and then trying to get them to go sit with them. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. My boyfriend's at home. I'm not going to do that. Well, the guys finally said, hey, can we just take a picture together? So being nice, they took a picture together. Well, apparently somehow in there, the only thing that they can figure is one of these guys either touched her drink or dropped something in it in the confusion of getting together by a picture. And luckily her friends figured out what was going on, but she didn't remember anything for 12 hours.
Oh my God.
I mean, it could have been absolutely catastrophic.
Yeah.
And they found some other...
It could have been life-changing.
Yes, they found some
Yes.
other individuals to help to escort them to the car with the security guard, because her friends did, because she was in such bad shape. Guess what? One of those guys was outside waiting.
Oh my
Okay?
God.
So you don't need to be scared of the world, but you have to recognize and be wise. You have to seek wisdom. You have to be aware of your surroundings, especially now, because our society has degraded to the point that emotions control everything. The marketers, the media, they are experts at psychological manipulation. And I will tell you, it works. Propaganda works. And what you hear works. Now, I never knew what witchcraft was, but now in today's society, with the deception that I see people believe on both sides, okay, those that don't love the truth enough to break their worldviews, they don't love the truth enough to have the courage to embrace it, those are easily deceived. So we're in a society where information is so easily accessible, but few people pursue wisdom and prudence. And the Bible tells us twice in Proverbs, and I don't think God wastes his word, right? It's very efficient in his delivering, but in Proverbs twice it says, the prudent foresee danger and hide themselves, while the simple pass on and are judged for it. And we're just in a society today where the government has rewarded leverage and foolish behavior. They have printed so much money that our children, your grandchildren, are going to have a much harder time. And we're just in a situation where we have a weak society because people give in to their emotions, and they would rather be liked by people that they complain about all the time. They would rather buy things they don't need to impress people they don't necessarily like than they do to pursue wisdom and truth and stand up, because everybody wants to be liked. And that's where it comes down to. Do you have a fear of God? You need to care more about what he thinks and his standard is than your neighbor, right? Or your best friend. And that gets to the point that we were talking about earlier. One thing I've explained to my kids, the statistics show it across the board, okay? All of the psychological studies, go out there and look at it. You can find them, they're pretty easy. You become a replica of the 5 people that you hang around the most, whether good or bad. The second thing that they've shown is if you take a high performer, okay, somebody who's driven, what we would consider an A+ personality, if you just sit within 30 feet in the workplace of a high performer, it increases your performance. At the same time, unless you're that strong A+ personality that's self-motivated, you might be a high performer, but if you're sitting by low performers, people that do just enough to get by, it pulls you down to their level. And one of the things I always told my kids is, I said, look, you have to understand, you're going to have people that are going to challenge you in your life. They're going to complain about your work ethic. I remember Kel and Will both. They come home and they're like, Dad, they make fun of me for being a tryhard. And I said, dude, you better wear that as a badge of honor. I said, because what's happening is people don't have the confidence, the drive, or the self-discipline to put in the work, right? Everybody wants to be good on Friday night. You're good on Friday night if you put the work in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
You're good on Friday night if you're given 100% in practice Monday through Thursday. You can do 110% in the game when you're under the lights.
Yep.
Okay? But if you're doing 50% in practice, at best you're going to do 55% Monday through Thursday.
Yep.
And the problem is you got a whole society now of moms and dads that are like, oh my gosh, you fussed at my kid.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? The people who are willing to tell you the truth and hold you to a higher standard, those are the people who care the most about you.
Yep.
The ones who actually really hate you are the ones that'll let you go down a path without giving any warning whatsoever. They'll let you behave in a horrible way, and they'll stand back, and they'll do nothing because they actually don't care about you.
Yeah.
They care more about being liked by you than they do helping turn the direction of your path.
And it is so crazy how people today, and influencer. I was thinking about this yesterday because everybody wants to be an influencer here, there, everywhere, and everybody looks at the numbers. I'm trying to find this thing that I saw the other day, and I thought this makes, okay, some people want to know your story, not to understand you, but to find your weakness. Be careful who you trust.
Oh, absolutely.
And your children, we all need to instill that in our children, because I've heard my kids say, oh, but Mom, they're so nice, they're so sweet, they're so this. And then you find out that they're a scoundrel, you know, down the road. Truly a scoundrel. And you're like, but I told you to begin with. And often I would hear the reply, well, we had to learn the hard way. In today's world, learning the hard way could end your life.
Oh, yeah.
Learning the hard way could end your life.
Well, so here's the thing. In the baby boomer generation, you guys had the wind at your sails, right? Like, I mean, you really only, the 2000 recession, the 2008 housing collapse. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Don't remind me.
Don't get me wrong. There were bad things that happened through. But no major recessions, right? I heard the whole, they all started cackling.
They know what I survived in 2008. Oh, gosh.
But the winds were at the sails, right? The government was able to print money. We didn't have inflation. Y'all kind of had it made. For the younger generation, this is what I tell my kids.
Mayonnaise was $1.29.
Yeah. I told my kids, make calculated decisions, take risks, but understand failure. Because if failure is too costly to bear, then you don't need to take that risk. And so anyway, yeah, I mean, we're in a society to where a stumble can set you behind that you may not be able to recover from because of how tedious the economic situation is right now. And something's got to break. I mean, our national debt is out of control. This administration is still spending like a drunken sailor, no different than the last administration was. And for those of you that know, I'm an equal opportunity punisher. Yeah. Because I want what's right for our country and I want what's right for our kids. But the reality is, it might be nice right now, okay? But there is a payday in the future. There's going to be a payday. And you know, we're starting to see that with the fringes around society. Suicide rates are high. Divorce rates are absolutely incredible. The pressure on families right now, and especially the younger generation, is nearly unbearable. It's demoralization. It's not like you know, there's just so much less opportunity out there. It's demoralization. And that's why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah, it is crazy scary, but at the same time, I live in Cherokee County, and I'm not even sure what Pickens County. I think your voting ratio is about the same as ours, 75% conservative and maybe 25%. And Gilmer County, what is theirs? About, you know,
I don't know.
About
really.
70-30, I think, in Gilmer. I've done a little research. And I know that we, in the communities that we serve, we maintain a conservative Christian lifestyle because that's what we were taught by our ancestors, our elders, those that we respected, from amazing teachers. And do you remember Dr. Mark Stallings?
Oh, yeah. I love Dr. Stallings.
Okay, yes.
He actually made me fall in love with studying and learning. And he was also probably one of the hardest teachers that on me that I had ever run across. Like, he busted my chops all the time.
Yeah, that's what you needed.
And expected me, he saw my ability to learn, and he held me to a higher standard, and that's carried through the rest of my life with a few others too.
And that scares me because I had Mrs. Maisel Kemp who did the same thing with me. We don't have that anymore. It's not like they go into, it's a different world because somebody's afraid to offend somebody by holding you to a higher standard. Somebody's afraid to offend you because mom and daddy might come after them. I've heard people say, well, they ain't gonna talk to my kid like that on that school bus, and get mad at the bus driver because the bus driver says, sit down and be quiet.
Yeah.
You know, this is traffic, we're driving, sit down, be quiet. And then the parent gets mad at the bus drivers. I'm like, what's wrong with you people? They're taking care of your children, they're transporting your children, they're educating your children. Back the teacher up when the teacher's right. But we had a generation where I almost want to say it was bully parents, and it was also often, boy, I'm getting in trouble, ignorant parents who didn't get the truth. They didn't know the truth before they jumped on the bus driver or the teacher or whatever. I remember a call I got when one of the kids was in 5th grade, and all the teachers asked for a meeting, and I said, oh gosh, what's this about? And it was because the kid talked in class all the time and created havoc with the class, but he was a good kid. But he liked getting attention. And so we had the conversation, and it was good with all the teachers. That was 35 years ago. Teaching is different now. Nobody wants to offend anybody. Nobody wants to say anything. Nobody wants to look at you in your pajamas and say, listen, you'll feel better about yourself if you come to school dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
You'll feel better about yourself if you present yourself well. You'll feel better about yourself if you take pride in your hair and you wash and comb and brush your hair. You'll take pride in yourself if people say, you look nice today.
Right.
It's just a simple, easy compliment, and you can get it at the Goodwill store. You don't have to go buy those expensive clothes, or if you want to, you can buy them at Goodwill because people put them there all the time. But make that impression when you walk in the door that somebody says, gosh, you look so nice today.
Yeah.
Because it sets the tone for your day.
It does. It does. And you're presenting to the world that you care. Attention to detail matters. Now, I don't wear a tie anymore. That's a little bit of my rebellion against the Wall Street plastic face. You know?
I love it.
But I, out of the respect for the audience, if I'm doing a presentation, now I did a couple presentations up in New Hampshire, and it was very laid back. And it was, and I got
Did they talk? They don't talk like us.
Well, these were people all over the country.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of clients in New Hampshire. Man, that's a beautiful place up there.
It is
where I
beautiful,
was.
yeah.
So, yeah, you get into Boston, they don't talk like us at all.
Yeah, they don't talk like us.
But,
they don't understand
I
us.
apologized to them. I said, look, I normally wear a coat just out of respect for you, but I don't want to wear a coat when everybody else is in business casual, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that's just something that you do, and especially, we just added 3 new individuals to our team over the past year. And we narrowed it down ridiculously. I think we had 500 and something resumes come in.
Wow.
Through Indeed. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Indeed's kind of how you find people now.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Uh-huh.
But we narrowed it down out of 500 to say 20, and probably 7 or 8 comes in knowing that we're a financial services company, knowing that's an area kind of like a bank.
You dress to impress.
You dress to impress. And the interview was over the moment they walked in the door. I'm like, okay, what you're representing to me is a complete, absolute lack of detail. And no matter how qualified you are for the position, you don't represent yourself as somebody that I can trust to pay attention to detail to put in front of my clients. And so, that matters. That matters. First impressions matter.
They do. They do.
They really do.
Well, many, many years ago on this date, my sister was born, and my sister went to heaven 3 years ago. And so we have some photos I want to share. And we also are sharing a beautiful photo of your child. There's my sister and my twin brothers, who are, we call them the old maids. They're both about 80, and they've never been married. They're smart. They're not going to give up half their wealth. So happy heavenly birthday to my sister. God, I miss her. She was my calming force. When I was ready to blow a gasket, I'd pick up the phone and call her, and she'd say, now, we'll get through this. Everything's going to be okay. Let's pray. I'm like, okay, Lila. But she was so precious, and she had kidney cancer. She took one chemo treatment, and sadly it caused her to have a stroke. And her precious husband, Charles, maintains their little home and maintains everything as she would want it, and he is just my sister married a saint. I'll just say it. She did not look for somebody like our dad. She found a saint and she married him, and I'm so thankful for her, and I thank God that she didn't suffer the pain very much. She had a stroke right after one chemo treatment, and that was it. And she went to be with Jesus. So,
sorry.
and she's there telling Jesus, "Now just calm down." She always told me that. Just let's just think this through. Let's just think this through. It'll be okay. Everything will be okay. They were married over 50 years, and Charles was a young Marine when they got married, and such a joy to have seen them live their life together very, very happily, and loved her. Just miss her so much. Now, this weekend in Jasper, Georgia Marble Festival, 43 years in the works, lots of music, lots of entertainers, and these are some of the entertainers that are going to be there. And if you have nothing better to do than enjoy the beautiful weather, the beautiful vendors, the food, the walking through the park, some music, you need to show up in Jasper, Georgia, Saturday and Sunday, all day long. And it is going to be a fun day. Our crew is actually going to be there, and the crew is going to be filming stuff. And I love clogging, and I would love to be there to see the cloggins. So lots of music, lots of entertainment. It's going to be really cool. And I'm excited to know that we're going to have that footage that then y'all will get to see on ETC. So, and when we think about the local, not having to go to Atlanta, not having to go anywhere, you get to see it in Jasper. So come on out to Lee Newton Park, and it will be all day Saturday and Sunday. Get there early, find yourself a good parking place, and spend the day. Come hungry, and that.
Oh, that's a good picture.
That is the example of how you raise a good son. So as we enjoy visiting with Paul, we love sharing his kids, because without his beautiful wife and without the encouragement, your kids would be 50% you, 50% Holly, one way or the other. But is there one of you who influences each child a little differently?
Oh gosh, a lot of prayer, and by God's grace, a lot of community discipline, a lot of prayer bringing the right people into their lives. God's blessed them in spite of me. Mm-hmm. Now, I tended to be the disciplinarian lecturer.
You were pretty tough.
I was tough on them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but it paid off. I hate to tell you, it paid off.
I mean, my argument is when Holly and I started talking about the kids, I said, I've always asked the Lord for wisdom, and maybe one of these days He'll give it. Yeah. But I told Holly, I said, I'm concerned when you look through cycles through generations, that our kids are going to have a tougher time than what we did and what the prior generation did. I hope that's wrong, but we need to raise them to be mentally tough. Mm-hmm. And I never held them to a standard that I didn't think that they could achieve, right? So yeah, I was hard on them. I expected a lot out of them. Mm-hmm. But I did it out of love. Always explain why I disciplined, and I'm like, look, you have this path or you have this path. Now, the funny thing is, you know, my Uncle Ben told me one time, he's like, for a marriage to really work, here's God, it's a triangle. Mm-hmm. You both have to look towards God, and the closer you get to God, the closer you come together. If Holly's looking at me for affirmation and I'm looking at her for affirmation, we're going to miss the mark, right? I mean, we're going to. We just celebrated our 28th anniversary, and we've had fights and arguments and things to come through. Of course, the kids, you know, cause plenty of arguments.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But one thing that I just really respect about her is when I would get lecturing the kids, you know, especially Kel, bless his heart, he was the oldest, and then you had Katie, and I mean,
you had to cut your teeth on him.
Yeah. I love the kid. I mean, I told Holly he's going to be successful in whatever he does. If it's bad, he's going to be successful and burn the town down. If he's good, he's going to be successful at that, because he's got work ethic. He's tough as nails, and he's kind of older now, so we don't get to talk to him as much, but he's doing great in what he does. And then I'm like, hey, we've got a daughter. I'm not going to coddle her. right? I'm gonna, I mean, yeah, there's difference in the way you raise kids, but she needs to be tough too, right? Because if you've got a daughter that ends up divorced with a child, that's a hard life, right? So she's got to be mentally strong enough. So we wanted to raise our kids, and we prayed that God would build mental strength into them. And it takes time. You develop that over life. But here's the funny thing. I'd be up there, and Holly never confronted me in front of the kids. Like, she showed me that respect, and I never did her either. But I'd lecture them, hammer down on them, and I'd be walking downstairs like, Lord, I think I did right, and I'd walk downstairs, and Holly motioned for me to come in the bedroom. She'd close the door, and she would chew me out. And the worst part is, it made me so mad because she was right on, I'd get 70% of it right, and 30% I'd blow it. Then I'd go upstairs, and I'd knock on the door. And and the kids to this day make fun of how mad they got at me when I came up there, and I'd be like, look, I'm sorry, the way I said that, I meant this, but it came out this way.
Yeah.
And I love you, and then I'd speak truth into their life. So if it wasn't for Holly, our kids would be really screwed up. Let's put it that way.
I love it.
So,
I love it. I love it.
And again, in spite of us, my prayer was always, Lord, please grant them wisdom and guide them in the right path, protect them, surround them with good people, and protect them from the worst of me, right? Because we've all fallen short, and, help me to love the kids. And, if they were just like me, they'd have a lot harder life. And I've had to overcome a lot of things in my life. And most of them were more emotional, internal. And I've tried to share that journey with the kids, because so many times, especially in the baby boomers that I looked up to, they never admitted they struggled with anything. And I was just like, how do you not struggle with anything, right? So I wanted my kids to know, you're going to struggle with things. You're going to have people that are going to come into your life that are hard to deal with. You're going to have people that the Lord's going to put over you in your employment or that you work with, that you're going to have to just sometimes tolerate it and understand that there's a shaping in it. And if you'll look at life that way, I believe that helps you pursue the path of wisdom and prudence. And then it also helps you understand, when you're in a position of power, you treat others the way you want to be treated, right? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's something that we've learned through all of the history. And we have this indication today, because we have a lot of knowledge, that we think we're smarter than those ancients in the past. But they had more quality of life and more interaction and understood human nature better than we do now. That's the reason why you go back and look at Dostoevsky and Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago. Everybody should read it. Everybody should read it. He is literally painting where we are in our country right now.
Wow.
And where we're headed. But a lot of people don't realize that the Gulag Archipelago has to be read by every sixth grader in Russia, because they don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past.
And we have seen some mistakes made.
We have. So anyway, the kids have their own choice to make, right? I mean, they can choose to rebel and not listen. By God's grace, our kids have, taken some of the good advice. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, one of these days you're going to have kids, you're going to wake up, and you're going to have to go to counseling, or you're going to go, oh my gosh.
I love
my dad, I said, just remember, I tried my best as a weak and sinful human being to put in that direction. If there's anything good, it's by God's grace.
That's it. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, more of what's wrong with America today and what's right with America. I love that my buddy Will Cagle got elected, and I love that I have another conservative running, and I hope he gets elected. And when we talk about we make choices in our life every day that we pay for, we see it every day, good, bad, or ugly, and it is our responsibility to try to teach the children, to try to teach our neighbors, to try to educate, and then it's ultimately up to you. What do you do, and what do you choose? We'll talk about that when we come back after a commercial break.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
If you or your business are looking for local advertising opportunities, we have sponsorships available for new programming coming soon on ETC3. Contact us at 706-697-5591.
Y'all come by and see us anytime you can.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
In this world today, we have choices to make. It's a free country. You can vote, you can represent, you can honor, you can disgrace. It's all up to you. Do you want to be somebody who somebody looks up to and says, you know, maybe I'll listen to what they're saying, or do you want to be the one that sets the trend for, I got more likes on Facebook than you did? What matters today? It matters that you tell the truth.
It matters that you tell the truth, and if you're telling the truth on Facebook, you're not going to get a whole lot of likes. You're going to get a lot of people that's going to challenge them.
Yeah.
I mean, and now there are people that are going to tell the truth that are going to get a lot of likes, but the algorithms suppress you because
the religious content doesn't travel nearly as fast as good gossip.
There is an evil out there that hates freedom. Okay, God gives us the freedom to suffer the consequences of our actions, whether good or bad. If you make the right decisions, then the consequences of your actions more often than not lead to good fruit, okay? And if you make bad decisions, more often than not, they lead to negative consequences. Now, that's one thing. I mean, I've seen people make really foolish decisions and it works out for them. I've seen people make really wise decisions and it didn't work out for them. So there's no perfect guarantee. That's the journey that we have in life, because there are forces outside of your control that can turn a good decision, a wise decision, into a bad one. But you have a greater probability of a positive outcome if you're making prudent and wise decisions. And you know, a lot of people, especially in the markets now, they're gambling. They don't realize they're gambling. There's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end it leads to death. And that may not be literal death. It may be death of the way of life. It may be death of your finances. It may be death of your relationships. And people just don't think that way, right?
I was laughing about that boat at the opening because I made so many financial disappointments, bad, But then when I got taken down, I had no responsibility for what happened to me. It was the surroundings around me. And when you talk about the 5 people who influence you the most, and my mother always said this, and then my grandmother had her little saying, Mama always said, you're known by the company you keep. And Granny said, birds of a feather flock together. And I say that every day. And you are truly known by it. And I was very fortunate to go to work as a teenager at a very big law firm in downtown Atlanta. And I was given an opportunity to watch everybody. And I learned from Beatty Trent sitting at Mr. C's desk to Judy Hicks sitting over at Jim Smith's desk. I mean, I got to watch so many different things, and I took it all in. And I took it all in. And I laugh about, I borrowed an outfit from Judy Hicks in 1968 to wear to a wedding. And I can tell you exactly what it was that day. And I said, needs to be conservative. I don't look good in tan, but yes, I'll wear that tan. I'll wear tan colored heels to go with it. And I can remember that because you want to do well. And so I looked at people who were doing well, you know, and I followed and I listened and I learned. And to this day, it still floors me that we were on the 19th floor of the Peachtree Center building in downtown Atlanta. 90% of the secretaries had a ashtray sitting on their desk with a lit cigarette in it.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy as one of my memories from these women who influenced me so greatly? And it's when Reed's Drugstore was just coming to Atlanta, and I would go on my lunch break or if I had a little breakfast break, I would run downstairs and I would say, hey, do y'all need anything? Yeah, get me a carton of this, get me a carton of this. They were all buying cigarettes. It was like $9 a carton. It was so crazy. I remember that, but I never disrespected them because they smoked. Mama smoked, and I hated it. But I learned so much from those amazing women, and they were all different. And my favorite was Katie, who hired me, and Katie was absolutely amazing. And she was a female attorney she ran the place, but all the male attorneys did all the work, but she ran the place. And I can remember thinking how, oh my gosh, she's a woman and she's doing all this because all the male attorneys came to her for meetings, they looked at her for advice. That was not seen or heard way back then. So she took that little leap of faith and said, I can manage this corporation, and she did. And I watched everything, and I think that got me through times when I thought, I can't do it. When I came to live TV and Roger Futch called me in for a meeting, he said, do you think you can do live TV? I said, sure, I've been practicing it all my life. Yeah. And he said, what does that mean? And I said, well, everybody I've ever met, I kept something of them in my mind. And so I would do interviews with people, and they would say, are you going to pre-interview me? And I said, no. And they said, well, why not? And I said, do you know your subject? They said, yeah. I said, we'll get through it. Okay, we can do it. I think you need to have confidence in yourself. There have been days that I didn't think I could get through here after Angela died and after several things happened to me, and I was a basket case falling apart. But God gave me the strength to come through, no matter what I faced. Right. So you look at him and you understand, without God Almighty, I would never have made it here. Right. Never. Right. This isn't because of me. This is because of him. Oh, yeah. And he gave me strength when I had none. I had none. There was a point in time that I was basically told I'm worthless, I'm useless, you're not loved, you're not cared for, da-da-da-da-da. And you believe that. You fall for it. And then you get over it. And I had a hang up all my life about men because my father, my biological father, the donor, was never in my life. My grandparents were, and they would, you know, share stories about him and whatever. But I had a hang up. And it was a big hang up to get through.
And that's normal.
It is normal. It is normal. And it's hard. It's hard.
And those, you know, but the thing that I've enjoyed about my faith and the hope and the encouragement that it gives, that's one thing I've always admired about you after everything you went through. It's like you kept striving for better. You never gave up. You never gave into self-pity. You never gave into bitterness.
A few times my sister drugged me out of that, I'll just tell you.
You never got consumed by bitterness or self-pity. And one of the worst things that can happen to somebody is to be consumed by bitterness. But you may be like me, in Sunday school as a kid, you're taught all the good stuff about the Bible. But then when I read the Bible front to back the first time, I was like, man, all of these people that got their names in God's Word to teach us, they had horrible events happen to them.
Hard time.
David's life was just full of turmoil and failures and mistakes.
How would you like to live Job's life?
Job's life,
Are you
right?
kidding? Yeah. He made mine look like a walk in the park.
And Job's sitting there and his friends are like, oh, you're a sinner. You've got hidden sin. This is the reason it happened. God chastised them for what they said. And Job continued through. And you take Joseph, arrogant little kid goes, I had a dream that y'all were going to bow to me. And then he's, instead of killing him, God preserves him. He goes into Egypt and gets accused of going after the Pharaoh's wife, ends up in jail. God uses those things to shape us. Now, in their case, if we turn to Him and we learn from that, and we seek for good, and we choose not to give in to bitterness, then that's a shaping process that God shapes us. And it may not be on a national scale, right? But what if you accept that discipline and guidance and you get stronger, but there's 5 people in your life that you can witness and share to, hey, I've been here, I've been through that, it will get better. You keep making the right decisions and keep choosing. That's how we make a difference in the world, is to let those experiences flow out of us to help teach somebody else instead of taking from people all the time.
I can't tell you how many times I've been stopped in a grocery store, stopped in Walmart, stopped at a gas station, and somebody says, Ms. Martin, you made a difference in my life. Ms. Martin, you don't know me, but you made a difference in my life. I'm so thankful for that, because everybody knew what I'd been through, what I was going through, what I was facing at different times. And I showed the boys, we were talking about my arm, the idea that I've had cancer several times and it has always been cured and I didn't lose my arm. I look and I understand He's still giving me a chance to get it right, because it's not right yet, but I'm trying, and so He keeps giving me a chance. And then I look at my sister who lived her life perfectly, and God took her after one chemo treatment. Yeah. So we don't understand. We will one day, and if my sister's up there today looking down, I know, could you give me a little help today? Today's going to be a rough day. But I'm so thankful that I was strong. A lot of people don't have strength, and that scares me. I would never have made it without my mother's strength, my father's sassy, smart-aleck attitude, even though he wasn't around me, the biological father. He had an attitude, and my brother, who was raised by him, says, you're more like him than I am, and it's weird because you were never around him. Yeah. So people influence us, and
they do.
5 people. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, the 5 people that you hang around the most, and that's what I try to remind the kids. They're at the point in their lives now. Kel's 26, he's doing good. I'm more of an advisor than a disciplinarian, but I still try to share when I get the opportunity. Surround yourself by good people. Be selective. That doesn't mean that you choose not to hang around somebody, right? But there are a lot of people that I really, really like. One, I don't have time to hang out with them a lot. And then there's other people that I care for that I'm not going to hang around a lot, just because of the fact that I don't agree with the decisions that they're making in their lives. But it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It's just I don't want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
And I think we all have to make those decisions. And I'll tell you one thing that in my life, I value honesty more than anything. Because I met somebody that we're becoming really good friends again, new, and I just told him, I said, look, I got kids I'm chasing around, I got business, I got employees. I said, I don't have much time. And I said, I'll just go ahead and cut to the chase. The most important thing to me for us to have a continued relationship is that you call me out when I'm being stupid. I'll love you more for that.
Yeah,
I'll love you more for that than I will if you just stand by and let me do something that's just absolutely ridiculous. Because I'm telling you, I can be a knucklehead. I really can.
Well, we have knuckled it through 1 hour, and our time is up. Don't forget, Kiker Wealth Management, located in Jasper, Georgia. If you have money, he would like to manage it, and you would be very happy with the results. So pick up the phone and call him. It's time for us to slide out of here where rivers, mountains, and truly good friends meet. I'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.